Here we go. Hi, happy Tuesday. Dr. Staci here. I'm so excited you guys decided to join us tonight. We are going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to share some great information with you all. And then, of course, you're going to start asking your questions. So before we get started, I want to make sure that you know who I am if you're a guest tonight, if you've never been on here before. So thank the person that invited you, because you're going to hear a lot of great information about this technology, what it is, how it works, how it can help you. And of course, people are going to be asking questions live. So who knows what kind of information I'm going to be sharing. But I wanted to give you my background real quickly. So I am a doctor of integrative medicine, and I'm also a doctor of functional medicine. So I am not a medical doctor. Any of the information that I share here tonight with you is just that. It's information. If you have any questions, of course, please see your healthcare provider, practitioner, whoever you see in regards to your health. Any of the information that I'm sharing is, of course, not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose anything that is going on with you. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get started and share the science and tech with you so we can get right to the Q&A. I will be doing a Q&A. You can ask questions in the chat. I have the chat up, but if you can just hang tight for a second until I go over the Q&A, so then that way questions don't get lost in there, and then I'll open it up here in just maybe like 15 minutes. But I like to always go over the frequently asked questions, so then that way we make sure we've got those taken care of. So tonight we are talking about Lifewave technology. The inventor of this technology that I'm going to be sharing with you, looks like this little round Band-Aid, his name is David Schmidt. And you can go to startx39now.com and you can see all kinds of videos with David in them, other doctors, professionals, people sharing their testimonials. You can also see all the clinical studies that I'm going to be referencing tonight, as well as the patents. David himself holds over 130 patents, the majority of those in regenerative medicine. And so he's an inventor. He's a scientist. He's a researcher. I call him a lab rat. He loves to live in the lab, and he loves to invent things that help people improve their quality of life. And so I want to kind of just give you a little bit of background on how this came to be, because you're probably thinking, I've never heard of this before. I don't, why have I never heard of it if it's that great, right? I get that a lot. And so you guys, David was working for the Navy SEALs 20 years ago. He was asked by the U.S. Department of Defense, he was contracted by them to help with their many submissions and oxygenation and whatnot. So during that time working with them, they asked him, since he was doing such a great job on their oxygenation type things, if he could contribute to a problem the SEALs had, and that was they were on too many caffeine, amphetamines, and uppers. And their quality of life was going downhill. You know, SEALs have to be up for days and weeks on end in mission. And so he was asked to contribute to that. And what he did was he invented a patch. It's actually a 2-patch system. So I'm going to pull it out here real quick, called Energy Enhancer. Energy Enhancer was invented 20 years ago for the Navy SEALs. David downloaded by the divine, God, source, whatever you want to call that. He downloaded the idea to create a non-transdermal patch that turns body fat into fuel. It's actually a 2-patch system. You can see there's a white patch and a tan patch. It's like our ice wave in that system. But this patch turns body fat into fuel. It also helps turn your lymphatic system, so it's really good for your body. But it helps you with endurance and stamina and energy throughout the day. Well, it was working so well for the SEALs, they were able to start eliminating some of those toxic things they were using and use the Energy Enhancer patch. Well, then, of course, many of you know here in the United States, 9/11 happened. Our country took a different turn to protect our country and bear more arms. So the Department of Defense no longer was contracted to work on the mini submission. So David started doing clinical studies with the U.S. Stanford swim team. He was friends with the coach, and of course, then on to the USA Olympic swim team. That is how this company got started. 2 years of clinical studies in showing what this patch does. He thought, you know what, I've got ideas for other patches. There are other things that I can do to help people improve their quality of life. I'm going to start my own company and he named it Lifewave. So that's the beginning of this company. Now, over the last 20 years, David has invented a dozen patches. Now, I'm not going to go in depth with every single patch tonight. Don't worry, we're only on here for an hour. But I have shared just about everything I've heard him say over the last, I don't know, maybe 9-10 months we've been doing these Zooms like this every single Tuesday night. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's DrStaci, Dr. Staci, and you can see all the past recordings that I have done. But over the 20 years, David has invented a dozen patches. It took him 10 years in the lab to figure out how to signal the body to activate, elevate, and mobilize its own stem cells. And so tonight I'm going to focus on this patch first initially, because this is the workhorse of the line. This patch has been out almost 4 years now. We do have a 20-year patent on this patch, and we're just in year 3 of that 20-year patent. You can find that patent on startx39now.com. But this patch here signals your body to activate, elevate, and mobilize its own stem cells. So that sounds kind of crazy. Not to mention the fact that it resets a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state the second you put it on. Can you believe that? Resetting your own genes, a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. How is this possible? Remember, I said this is non-transdermal. So I'm sure you're familiar with transdermal patches. Those are things like nicotine patches, birth control, estrogen, pain patches. You put a patch on your body where something's going on and it causes something to happen. You've put a chemical or a substance into the body. That is not how this patch works. This technology is not like that at all. There's no nutrient, there's no chemical, there's no substance, there's no vitamin, there's no homeopathic remedy. There's none of that on here. Nothing is going into the body. So what that means is there are no contraindications. There are no interactions with what you're currently using, whether it's a medicine or a supplement or something nutritional. This can only benefit you and help you in what you're currently doing, and maybe even possibly replace some of the things. Because again, it's working inside of your body with your body's own light. And that's what I'm going to explain to you now. So this is how it works. You see that white part? Embedded in that white part, see the back here sticky? Embedded in that white part is a crystal lattice structure. Okay, it's a structure, it's a solution of molecules that come together to form these nanocrystals. So this structure that's embedded in here is what David invented. It's a proprietary, meaning he invented it, he knows it, blend of organic amino acids, sugars, oxygen, and water. That lattice is what's in here, and it works with our body's light or heat. If you put your hand on your chest right now, you should be around 98.6, right? How do I know that? Well, because most all humans are, okay? We're around 98.6. If you're 97, that's perfectly fine. But we emit heat or a low-level infrared light, and we know that because here where I live on the East Coast, it's dark outside. So if I went outside right now, I couldn't see my neighbor across the street or the horses or cows in the pastures down the road unless I was looking through night vision goggles. When you look through night vision goggles, you see the outline of the person in color, red, blue, green, yellow, orange, whatnot. That's the heat that our body is emitting. That is what this patch works with. Okay, it's called photobiomodulation. So not an outside light source like a red light therapy, laser therapy, blue light therapy, things like that. But we are the light source. We are the ones that are emitting that light. And so when you put the patch on, our body's light reflects back a specific wavelength of light from that lattice structure that's embedded in the patch. That wavelength of light is what elevates, activates, and mobilizes our own stem cells. One of those genes that's reset is P63. And so that's responsible for mobilizing our stem cells, resetting that third of the genes. Remember, back to their young, youthful state. So what does that mean for you? That may sound like a lot, right? Here's what I want you to know. The basics is when you get up in the morning, stick the patch on, leave it on 12 hours, go about your day, stay hydrated, at least half your body weight in ounces every single day of water if you want to feel good and have faster results and really reap the benefits of this technology, you've got to stay hydrated. So half your body weight in ounces of water during the day, take your patch off after 12 hours and throw it away, or put it in your pet bed, put it on your pet. This weekend I was in San Diego working an event, and the lady comes up with her service dog and she said, can I put a pet on him? And we just put it right underneath his collar, stuck it right there on his fur. And he just looked up there and looked at us and he was like, went back to sleep, like no big deal. So working on ourselves. And then, of course, you can take it off and it can work on your pet as well, too. Dogs, cats, chickens, cows, horses, you name it. So anyways, when you wear this patch during the day, because X39 is daytime only, it's going to mobilize those stem cells. You take the patch off, your body's going to go to work to repair and regenerate itself. Here's the thing. I don't know what is going to happen for you. Everyone wants to know, here's my problems, right? Here's my list of problems, my what I call grocery list of issues. When are these things going to be fixed? I don't know, but here's what I can tell you. Our clinical studies show that people start to see results around 3 to 6 weeks. If you experienced something before, that's fantastic. But I don't want to say that that's normal because I have to go by clinical studies. And so what do people typically experience first? We know they experience reduction in pain, a deeper sleep, more REM sleep. We can see a mental clarity, concentration, focus, energy, physical energy. We can see faster recovery from exercise and daily activity, as well as faster wound healing. That's kind of common in the beginning, but then we really start to see improvements in the digestive system, the nervous system, the immune system. And one of my favorite studies is the cardiovascular system. We only have one vascular system, right? We only have one heart. And so we want to keep that heart young and healthy and youthful. We know that the number one killer is heart disease. That's just a fact. And so how can I keep my heart, my vascular system young? We can see from studies every 6 weeks, using this patch, not 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 5 weeks, but every 6 weeks using this patch, we can see that our vascular system is functioning as if it were 8 weeks younger. There's a huge compound effect when you use this patch. And what I mean by that is, think about your heart. Every 6 weeks that goes by, it's going to go by no matter what. Is your heart going to get older, or is it going to function as if it were younger? Older or younger? Every 6 weeks on this, you're going to reverse that functionality of your vascular system. I interviewed a doctor last year, and it was amazing. He had a heart attack at age 45, and he was a pharmacist. His whole family was pharmacists. He was on like 5 prescription medications. You can look it up in the Telegram channel. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's in there. I can find it. And so can, I'm sure, the people that invited you here. But he used all these medications. Nothing would help improve the age that his heart was functioning at. He was 45. His heart was functioning as if he was 75. So I come to meet him, and he's 65 years old. He had tried everything holistic. He got off all the medications. He went down all the holistic path, still wasn't able to get his heart to function any younger than a 75-year-old man. And at this time, he's 65. And so he started using the X39. 1 year. Now, of course, I said he's 65, right? 1 year, and his heart was functioning as if he were in his early 30s. That's what I mean by compound effect. So he had a 75-year-old heart functioning as if, and after a year of this, the repair and regeneration that took place, his heart was functioning as if he was in his early 30s. So let me ask you this. Does that mean if he stopped patching, his heart would go back to the 75-year-old again? No. Regeneration, if you understand regenerative medicine, when things are repaired and regenerated, they are fixed. Okay. And so that means they are functioning, they are working, they have repaired to be at that state. If you were to stop patching, you don't immediately lose all the progress you made over those months or years that you were using the patch. So understand that regenerative medicine, this is not transdermal. So this is not putting something in your body, and when you stop using it, then you don't get the benefits. The benefits have been gained over that time that you're wearing it. If you did decide to stop, then of course those benefits are yours. Your body has regenerated, it's repaired itself, right? And so that's the beautiful thing about this technology, getting to the root cause of the issues and repairing the body, regenerating the cells and tissues and organs. And again, how do we know this? Clinical studies. We have done almost 90 clinical studies now, and you can find them all on startx39now.com. All of the studies are there, so you can see them, you can read through them. There's so much great information out there on how this technology is helping people improve their quality of life. So how long do you need to wear the patch? Well, it's based on your age. To get yourself up to full stem cell regeneration, it's 1 month for every 10 years you are old. So if you're in your 50s, you're going to wear it 5 months. If you're in your 60s, 6 months. If you're in your 70s, 7 months, right? Why? Well, because when you're young, you have an abundance of stem cells, right? Kids have boundless amounts of energy. They drop at the hat and sleep in the middle of a crowded room like it's nothing. They fall off their bike, break their arm, and they get up and they take off running again, right? They're just go, go, go nonstop. That's because they have an unlimited amount of stem cells in their body. As we age, our body has less and less stem cells that are active. By the time you're in your 30s, you have about half the stem cells active in your body. The rest are dormant, doing nothing. That's why you start to see the crow's feet and the issues with sleeping, or you walk in the room and you're like, what did I walk in here for? Right? You start to get those aches and pains when you get out of bed in the morning. And that's because your body's ability to repair itself is diminished some. Well, by the time you're in your 60s, you have less than 10% of those stem cells in your body active. So your body's ability to repair itself is barely even there. If you're in your 70s, there are no active stem cells. We can see this in blood work, right? And so when you start using this patch, it starts activating your own stem cells, mobilizing your stem cells, and resetting, like I said, a third of those genes back to their young, youthful state. Your stem cells are pluripotent. They have the ability to turn into any cell, tissue, or organ that your body needs. Your body knows how to heal itself. When you cut your finger or break your bone, it's not the Band-Aid or the cast that does the repairing. It's the body's stem cells. They go to work to repair and regenerate. And I'm sure you've seen people as they age, their body just doesn't heal as fast because they don't have those stem cells active in their body. And so this says, hey, let's go. Let's do what we did when you were younger. Let's get your body repairing. Let's reset these genes and let's get you back to your young, youthful state. Not 5 years old, right? But about 25. David says the technology, this allows us to get back to age 25 on the insides, our cellular age. Now, we're hoping the outsides catch up. Most of us look much younger than our actual age, and that's a beautiful perk, right? But really what that means is the inside is young because your outside is a direct reflection of what's happening on the inside. And so using this day after day, week after week, month after month, even year after year, I'm a year and a half into using this now. Why am I still patching? I'm 48 years old, but my cellular age says I'm 25. I'm going to stay 25 forever. That sounds fantastic to me. Sign me up for that. I'm all about prevention. I always have been. I'm all about vitality and longevity. I didn't have anything wrong with me before I started using this technology. I initially wanted it for my daughter, of course, which we saw massive improvements in her in the year that we used this patch on her, and a couple others as well too. But this for me is instead of stem cell injections. I've always wanted stem cell injections for vitality, prevention, and longevity, but at $25,000 a pop, I wasn't willing to spend that. Instead, I spent that on her many times. But for me, this is simple, easy, effective, affordable. I stick it on. It's the price of a cup of coffee a day. I go about my day, stay hydrated, and take it off. And I'm literally repairing my body, regenerating my body, and keeping my body young and youthful and vital and healthy. For those of you that have grocery lists of issues, as the days and weeks and months go on, you can start crossing those things off of your list. I can't tell you what order your body is going to repair itself, though. I have no idea. Like I said, your body knows how to repair itself. It has its own innate ability to do that. Your stem cells are going to go to the areas you need most to survive. You may say, well, my back hurts. Great. I'll tell you what's in our pain protocol. You can very simply use X39, Eon, and Icewave. Icewave is going to get rid of pain on the spot. We can use these patches right here to help you reduce your inflammation and to get rid of that pain. But I can't tell you X39 is going to get rid of your pain on the spot. Sometimes for people it does, just from the increase of the GHKCU, the copper peptide that's increased, but I don't know that. But I do know when you put this on, because I patched probably, I don't know, a couple hundred people this weekend that were in pain. They were sitting 8-10 hours a day in a workshop. And so they were in pain. Their backs were hurting. Their shoulders were hurting. And their neck was hurting. So we were patching people left and right. And Icewave got rid of their pain on the spot. So X39, and of course, I'm going to talk to you about Eon real quickly next. These are going to get to the root of the problem. And then, of course, different supportive patches support different systems in your body. So with that being said, I know we've got questions popping in. And so the Eon is a patch that reduces inflammation. I want you to understand this. Inflammation is the root cause of disease in the physical body. We know that. Every doctor will tell you you have inflammation. That's the root of your problem. What is your option? Anti-inflammatory drugs? I'm not really for sure. But Eon is a patch that signals a different peptide. It signals a peptide in your liver to reduce the inflammatory markers in your body. And so those inflammatory markers like the homocysteines and C-reactive proteins and cytokines and lipids and fibrinogen, those, when you reduce the inflammation in the body, then you increase at the same time your body's own stem cell production, right? This is what we call the dynamic duo. And for those of you out there that have accounts right now with Lifewave, this is our promo this week. You can get both of these for only $135 wholesale price. That is amazing. Normally it would be $169.95. So if you haven't seen that promo yet, go into your back office, click on promotions, and it's right there. You can order up to 5 sets of these. If you're not for sure how to do that, then get with a person that invited you or the person that set you up, and they can help you with that as well too. And that's the wholesale price for brand partners. So if you don't have that account, they can help you get set up with that so you can take advantage of this promotion as well. But this here is what I want you to understand, that if you had a stem cell injection, say you had pain in your shoulder and you went to spend that $25,000 for a stem cell injection, then your stem cells are going to go to the area that's inflamed. That's what's causing the pain, the lack of range of motion, things like that. Well, what happens is, say you inject 2 million stem cells in your body. Your body is going to consume the majority of those stem cells. That inflammation is. You may be left with only 200,000. Do you want 2 million stem cells or do you want 200,000? I would take 2 million, right? And so that's what an injection is. We've done over 10 years of that type of therapy, to different types of stem cell therapy with my daughter. Never did we have the results with that we have with these two right here. So when you reduce inflammation at the same time you're increasing stem cell production, you set the body up for more rapid, dramatic repair and regeneration process. So let's get to the root of the problem, the same time we're helping the body repair and regenerate. So those are the 2 main patches I want to talk to you about. I know you're going to have questions, so I want to go ahead and address those. Somebody asked about herbal tea. As long as it's decaffeinated and that's not your whole day, like we need real, fresh, clean water. Soak it in mint or lemon and lime or strawberries or pineapples or something overnight if you don't like the flavor, but make sure you're getting just some pure, clean, healthy water. But yes, you can have herbal tea. If you have any kind of caffeine, then caffeine, of course, dehydrates you. And we know as you age, your cells are more dehydrated anyways. You're going to need to compensate. So every cup of coffee, you're going to need to drink an additional glass of water on top of what you should be drinking every day, which is half your body weight in ounces. And I stress this because when people tell me, oh, I had a headache, or, oh, I just kind of felt fatigued, that's because you're dehydrated. This technology works with your light. Your cells are light. We know that, trillions of cells of light. The cells need water for the conductivity of this technology. So make sure you stay hydrated to feel amazing. So somebody said X39 and 49 both activate stem cells. It's been discussed the type of amount of stem cells versus the other. So here's the thing. This is the way this works. And April and I were talking about 39 and 49 earlier. X39 signals a peptide called GHKCU copper peptide. That peptide is the one responsible for resetting a third of your genes. One of those genes is P63 that mobilizes your stem cell, okay? Mobilizes your stem cells, activates them, elevates them, right? That's what this is responsible for. This patch, which David just came out with last year, is different. It signals a daughter peptide, which is AHKCU. That daughter peptide was, David invented it for this specific reason initially, was invented, this, not the peptide, but this patch was invented to signal AHKCU to help build lean muscle mass in the body, okay? And what happened, David found through clinical studies with people, we'll just start with the first 60 days. Of course, we've had studies going on now for over a year, but for the first 60 days, he saw the benefits of using this patch by itself, this patch by itself, and what happened when you combine them, because they are mother-daughter peptides. They worked synergistically even more powerful. So he was measuring things like grip strength and bicep curls and, push-ups and crunches and squats, looking at the core and the muscles. He was looking at endurance and pulse rate. Well, what he found was not only did it help to your heart, as in lowering blood pressure, systolic and diastolic, it helped the brain. It also stopped bone loss and improved bone density in your body, systemically, all over the body. So these are different, okay? This one is resetting the genes. One of the genes is P63. This is designed to signal AHKCU, which helps to build lean muscle mass, reduce body fat. We saw 11% drop in body fat in 60 days, stop bone loss, and increase bone density. That's what our studies are showing. A year out, it's dramatic. And you can go to our startx39now.com and see these studies and what these two do together synergistically. It's very, very powerful, but not at all. They're not the same patch doing the same thing, okay? So, let's see. Is it prudent to use carnosine and glutathione when first starting the patches for quicker healing? I've been using the patches for 3 weeks and stopped having pain the second day, chronic back pain. That's fantastic. So, that's a personal choice. Glutathione to me is vitally important. This is the master antioxidant, master detoxer, and master immune system booster. We know how important the immune system is nowadays, right? And most people have immune system issues. Most people know what glutathione is. Glutathione is commonly used at the end of an IV drip as a push to help increase your glutathione in your body. Obviously, it's an exogenous source. You're going to have an increase of about 20 to 23%. It has a 7-minute half-life. Sometimes people do suppositories. Sometimes they do supplements of glutathione. Again, about a 7-minute half-life, about a 23% increase. This is a patch that signals a peptide in your liver to elevate your own glutathione. Big difference. This elevates your glutathione by 300 to 400%. That glutathione is sustained for a 24-hour period. When you take off the patch, the glutathione patch 12 hours later, the patented technology that's in this has a time-stamped kind of release. I don't want to say release, but basically it allows your body to keep that elevation of glutathione for a 24-hour period. Big difference when you look at removing toxins from the body, boosting the immune system, coating the joints. This is a fantastic patch when you look at the areas in between all of our joints in our body to help things stay fluid and moving, right? So glutathione, I think, is vitally important to everyone's health on this planet. We know the oldest people on the planet that live in the 5 blue zones have the highest level of glutathione in their body. And they're not using a glutathione patch, so it's not that, but they are doing certain things. And if you Google blue zones, you'll be able to see what they're doing, but they're doing certain things to keep their body young and youthful, which is why they're over 120 years old. The carnosine patch is a very different patch. It's an antioxidant. Your body makes it, right? Just like glutathione, it declines as you age. And so increasing your own carnosine, I'm going to tell you what, this patch does a lot, okay? So anything in the brain, balancing left brain, right brain hemisphere, improving cognition, communication. Just Google carnosine, right? Carnosine as a nutrient is going to detox aluminum from your brain. I don't know about you, but you've probably used deodorant your whole life, which is full of aluminum. I'm sure you've cooked in aluminum pans, or you've eaten in restaurants where they cook in aluminum pots and pans. And I'm sure you have used aluminum foil, not to mention the many other ways, aluminum cans, beer, Coke, things like that, that you're getting aluminum in your body, which is an extreme toxin. And so carnosine as a nutrient, we know helps do that. It also helps clear clogged arteries, which is fantastic. So you can do your research out there. Just Google, information on carnosine. There's tons, years and years of clinical studies. But our patch is going to elevate your own carnosine level. So that means it's going to help your brain. It's going to help your heart. It's going to help your muscles. It's great for building lean muscle mass too, but different than X49, right? We're signaling different peptides in the body. But another beautiful thing about carnosine, it's really important for your organs, especially the pancreas. If you know anybody that has blood sugar issues, this helps with the glycation process to keep your blood sugar nice and perfect. So it's a personal choice. I personally think they're very important, but you have to make your own decision what patches you want to use. Some people like to start slow. They just like to start with these two, and that's perfectly fine. And maybe, rotate one day on this, one day on this, or some people like myself just slap them all on from day one and just keep wearing them. So it's totally up to you. So you've added X3949 with Eon 6 weeks ago. My strength and energy is insane. Oh, that's fantastic to hear. Never get tired. Was an elite athlete as a teen. I've always stayed active. I did what I could, but at 77, I needed stem cells and I feel 30. That is amazing. Thank you for sharing, Kent. That's fabulous. What improvements did you see with your daughter over the time period? So over the course of the year that we used the patches with her, we used X39, Eon, carnosine, and glutathione. And we saw a balance of her hormones. She had never had normal periods, hadn't had one for 3 years. That completely balanced out the first month. Her communication was insane. We were never able to have conversation with her, and she was able to answer us very quickly, and friends and family members interact with people. We saw huge improvements in her physical abilities, her strength, and her fine motor skills as well. Her structure started to straighten out. She'd been in a wheelchair for 15 years. So we saw a lot of improvements, more than we've seen in 15 years of doing everything holistic under the sun, including injections and hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy, and you name the holistic modality or tincture or pill or whatever, I've done it. And so we didn't see anything like we did with these patches, which is why I'm here right now talking to you all, because of her. Okay, yes, they're totally waterproof. You can swim, sweat, shower, any of that. Can we talk about pinched nerves in the neck with patches, especially if the doctor says, talking about surgery, do you have any recommendations, or have your testimonials? Tons and tons and tons of testimonials on pinched nerves. We have a Telegram channel. It's called Be Activating, and the person that invited you, or if you're not in it, they can get you in there, and you can see there are over 3,000 recorded testimonials from real people. Just come on Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, and Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern. And 2 people every day, random people, will share their personal experience using these patches. And so you can type in pinched nerve and probably find hundreds. But I would definitely use the X39 and Eon. Absolutely, these two. And of course, Icewave to get rid of your pain on the spot. Because this is, so like today I was talking to an MD in South Carolina. I was on a Zoom, and he was talking about having a hard time telling his patients to use ibuprofen. Yes, it helped with the inflammation in, like their knee problems and their pain and stuff, but it was eating the cartilage away of their knees. And I can't do that. And I said, well, Icewave gets rid of the pain on the spot, so they don't have to use ibuprofen. They don't have to use Tylenol and things like that are extremely toxic to the liver. And so use this, doesn't get rid of your problem. It just helps eliminate the pain. These two are going to get down to the root of the issue. You would probably honestly benefit from some glutathione as well too. Patches do you recommend for someone with vertigo? So when I look at the brain, because I can't specifically speak on vertigo, that's a disease or disorder. When you look at the brain, you look at X39, Eon, and carnosine. This is what I would look at. I'd also look at X49 if you're interested in adding something else, because of what this does in the brain. It's fantastic. So you can mix and match, do whatever you want. But if you look at the brain patches and the heart patches, they're the same. And these are the ones we look at: 39, 49, Eon, and carnosine. Anything brain, anything heart, these are the ones we look at. So it's just up to you. Are you in a situation where you're like, I'm just going to take my time, I'll just play around with these, see how it goes? Or you like, I want it gone now. Fix it. Let's do it. Let's do whatever we need to do. It's totally up to you, but I would definitely look at those. And maybe energy enhancer. Some people do energy enhancer up in here in this area. Energy enhancer is the one I said that turns body fat into fuel, turns over lymphatic system, but it also opens up energy channels. So it's fantastic. Why is the patch on my thymus? Because you guys can see it. That's it. It's because you can see it. So here's the thing with the patches. Clinical studies are done in very specific locations because they have to be, right? We have to have our participants in our studies wearing the patches in specific spots. So it's a controlled situation. But here's the thing. There are different options for each patch, and they're on acupuncture points. So each patch has its own, and sometimes they're the same, but a lot of times they're not. It has its own acupuncture points that are directly impacting different meridians in the body to help with that nutrient. For example, this is glutathione, top of the foot, the liver meridian goes right up to the liver. Do you need to detox your liver? I think everybody under the sun does, right? Because that's our detox system anyways, and it gets so clogged up. So putting your glutathione patch down here is connected to the liver meridian, but you can move it around. If you're going to do that, I suggest staying with a spot for 7 days. So if you're going to go below the belly button with glutathione, stay for 7 days, then move, at this spot right here, leave it for 7 days. Try the one, on the inside of your shin, your calf area for 7 days. Just if you want to move them around, go for it, right? I don't know that you're going to feel anything when you do that, but sometimes you might. So again, we're all so different. This is not a cookie cutter type thing. What's in your body going on is nothing like anyone on the planet. We have 8 billion people, and no two people have the exact same things going on physically, mentally, or emotionally, spiritually in their body. And here's another thing. You can stick the patch anywhere. So it's working systemically. So if you stick it on, it's signaling peptides, no matter what. So keep that in mind. What's the protocol for TBI? So, I just mentioned brain. Okay, can you wear the patch longer than 12 hours? And can I wear longer than 1 month per decade? So absolutely. Oh, I met you this weekend. Mentorella. I remember talking to you with Taylor. So you only want to wear the patch 12 hours. So the reason why is it's our body's light. So picture the light in your room. If you left this light on all the time, it's going to burn out faster. Your body needs a break. Our light or heat that we are emitting is communicating with this. It is good for 12 hours. After 12 hours, it needs a break to repair, regenerate, and just have some time off before you signal it again the next day. Also, after about 12, 14 hours, the lattice structure that's in here starts to dissipate. And so then it's no longer interacting, right? That's why we say take it off and put it on your pet, put it in your pet bed. They're going to get some benefits, right? But they're not going to get the full amount, but they're pets, they're littler. And so they don't need all of that. They don't need that really long time signaling their body. They're different, right? They're smaller. If you have a horse or something, of course you can put a brand new one straight on your horse. But if you have a poodle like I do, you don't want to put, just take it off yourself and throw it in the bed or put it on the collar. But you definitely don't want to wear it longer than 12 hours. If you happen to forget, which we all have, then just take it off the next morning, throw it away, and wait 24 hours before you do it again. So sometimes people set timers on their phone, so that way they remember when to take them off. Yes, you can definitely wear them longer than 1 month for every decade. For me, like I said before, this is about prevention for me. The top 5 killers, right? We know heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer, dementia, right? All these degenerative diseases that are taking people out left and right. This is what's going to prevent that, because when the body's young and youthful, when it's functioning as if it were younger, cells, tissues, organs are younger inside of your body, then you have a better chance of longevity. David always says what's really going to take somebody out is probably an accident. Otherwise, you could live hundreds of years if you don't get in any accidents. I live down here in Florida, so stay off of I-75 and you'll probably be good, right? Or those of you coming through Atlanta, stay off the interstates, those crazy roads, crazy drivers out there. But you can wear it as long as you want. I always say wear it as long as you want until, stop wearing it when you want to start aging again, because it's going to keep reversing. So a girlfriend had surgery to repair carpal tunnel. It didn't really seem to work. She feels pain. Overdoes it with patches will help with her wrist. Definitely X39 Eon and Icewave for the immediate pain. A third of the DNA reset cumulative, like, let's see, 2 patches will do. No, that's a great question. So no, if a third is cumulative, will 2 patches do 2/3? and so on. So the way this works is if you were to use 2 patches, it's going to increase your benefits about 20 to 30%. And that's it. So it's really not worth it cost effective. You're better off to use some supportive patches to be able to really target or pinpoint those specific things going on in the body to help you have your results faster if that's what you're looking for. Now, I will share this with you. In an acute situation, for example, my son has 3 times now in basketball in the last year, went up for a shot and got hit in the air and had different things happen to him that injured his body. A massively split lip wide open, a sprained ankle, and most recently, when I left town last week, his hip. He got hit in the air and he barely could even move I don't know what it did. It messed everything up in there. And so in that situation, in an acute, say, for example, someone's had a surgery, then you can patch multiple patches. Like, for example, with him, I would put 3 X39, 3 Eon, and 3 carnosine. This is for repairing tissue. And so for me, what I did with him all 3 times was triple up on all of these. And so, for example, like when he sprained his ankle, the doctor said crutches for 2 weeks, come back, orthopedic, see me then. 24 hours later, he was off crutches. 7 days later, he was on the court. 2 weeks later, at that follow-up appointment, he was back dunking again and has literally never had an issue, not 1 ounce of pain or anything since. Now, he's 18. Last year, he was 17 when it happened. His body has all the stem cells to repair itself. I just gave it a bump, right? It was an acute situation. So a quick, short period of time. People that have surgeries, they multi-patch 2 or 3 patches at one time, maybe the first week after surgery to really kind of get things going, especially if you're older and your body's not up to that full stem cell production yet. But when you look at that long term, it does not give you enough benefits versus if you would actually look at addressing different systems and things like that in the body. But it only resets 1/3 of your genes. What happens is, as you know, genes express to 1 or 2 other genes. That's just what happens in our body. And so we see that compound effect from the long-term use of gene expression, resetting those genes because of the continuation of using them every day, every month, and even longer. That's where you really start to see your bigger benefits. We've had people that I've interviewed that have been using the patch, like I mentioned the doctor earlier, a year, and I've interviewed so many people that have used the patches between a year and the 3-year mark. And it's astronomical what's happened to them. Everything on their grocery list is gone in their 70s and nothing is wrong with them. They feel like they're in their 20s and 30s because of that long-term use. So it can only help improve your quality of life the longer you use it. So, okay, nerve issues. That's what started me on Lifewave, 0 pain now. Fantastic to hear. Fantastic. Eyes and brain feel like they're in a tunnel. So I would definitely use X39, Eon, carnosine, and energy enhancer. Energy enhancer will help that, as like I mentioned earlier as well. Of course, X49 is a definite option too. So I have a need for at least 6 patches. Where on my body do I put them all at the same time? That's a great question. So you can put on the back of your neck, for example, you can put 1, 2, or 3. So sometimes people will put X39, they'll put Eon right below it. So it would look like this. David calls this kissing your patches. So if this was X39, Eon could go right below it. You can put glutathione right below that. Sometimes people will put them straight in a line down their belly button. I'm notorious for that. I'll have 4 or 5 patches starting at my belly button, going all the way down. That's just easy. Put them down there, don't have to worry about it. But you can use the instruction booklet to pick different spots. It's totally up to you if you want to play around with that. I think it's a great idea to play around and try different spots. But I also think it's really nice just to stick, 3, 4, 5 of them on the back of your neck or the low back or down below your belly button and just call it a day and get out the door. They're always working systemically, right? Would you use X49 Energy Enhancer together? I have someone who works out 6 days a week and very concerned about his muscles. Oh my gosh, yeah. My son uses 3949. Absolutely. Energy enhancer, loves it because he's on the court playing basketball. He's the only kid that can go nonstop and not have to sit down and take a break. And he's 18, 6'3" and 210. So energy enhancer, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic. And I find people that use that gives them the upper edge. I don't know if you guys saw the world's strongest man. I can't remember his name now off the top of my head. But anyways, all of his pictures are circulating around, his videos from years ago using the energy enhancer right here. So many of our athletes athletes are using the patches to be able to help them improve their quality of life. And not only that, but they're using it to be able to help them with the upper edge, which is what happened to the USA Olympic swim team. Remember, if you remember back, I think it was 2007, 8, something like that, the USA swim team swept the gold, took them all because of the energy enhancer. So there was a huge controversy. People were, wait a minute, we've got to test this. You can't put anything on the body. You can't put anything in the body. And so they did all their tests, the Olympic team, the Olympic board. And of course, they concluded nothing was going into the body. It was non-transdermal. So yes, it was approved, and the USA did get to sweep the gold. I remember it was in the newspapers back then. Remember the newspapers? My parents were reading the papers, and of course it was on the TV and everything like that. So definitely energy enhancer. Body's inflamed due to toxic mold. Oh, that's horrible. We met a girl like that this weekend too. So X39, Eon, fantastic. Glutathione. Good. That's definitely good. You definitely want to do things to get that mold out of your body. He said he's open to learning more about the patches based on the research. That's fantastic. More glutathione than the patches provide on a daily basis. So you can definitely do coffee enemas. Coffee enemas will increase your own glutathione level. I mean, you can take glutathione or you can do IV pushes, but you can also just do coffee enemas and that'll increase your glutathione as well. It's just, I'm not personally interested in that, so I'm going to stick a patch on. But if he says you need more glutathione, then I would also look, obviously, he's a doctor. He has many different ways to detox that mold out of your body, push catch, types of with charcoal, things like that. So severe eye issues, yeah, you would use X39, Eon, and carnosine for anything to do with the eyes. Other than X39 and Eon, what do you recommend for UT? Do we mean urinary tract? I'm guessing urinary tract. So you would look at your carnosine for that because of what it does with the organs, specifically the kidneys, if that's what you're talking about with the UT. I don't know if you mean UT or UTI, but I would use that. And also energy enhancer. You can place energy enhancer on the kidneys, and that helps as well too, moving things out. Do you have any testimonials about parasites and patching? And what's the suggested patching for intestinal parasites are present? So that's a great question. And I started talking earlier this month before the full moon about detoxing parasites because most people have never done it. They're scared. I'm like, I'd rather have them out than in. Why would you even want that? And we also know what parasites cause and what they lead to in the body. And so we can see that along with heavy metals as a massive issue in people's health. And so I have not seen any personal testimonials from people on parasites. I've searched, and I think the reason why is honestly because people don't correlate detoxing parasites out of their body with anything. So not to say that glutathione is not helping to eliminate. We don't have any clinical studies on that, of course. I don't know that it is or isn't. I'm honestly not for sure on that. That would be a fantastic study if you're interested in doing that, seeing people that have parasites and then using glutathione and seeing if that helps to eliminate it. Obviously, we know parasites are most active around the full moon. So I've got a huge group of people that are going to be coming on board with me in February. They finally decided they'd rather have them out of their body than in. And so we're going to be doing big parasite detoxes. But I don't know as far as the glutathione goes. I can't say for sure. I use glutathione daily, absolutely. And I think most people would benefit from using it daily. If you're someone that's on a lot of medications, if you're over 60 and you're on tons of medications, you want to go slower with glutathione. Medications are extremely toxic. And so your body is full of toxicity. If you've been using prescription medications for a long time, that's just known. And so you would want to go slower with glutathione, maybe a couple times a week to start, work yourself up to 3 times a week as you're detoxing. Water is going to be extremely important if you're detoxing from any type of anything, right? But especially medications. So 22-year-old. Wow. Okay. So still limited from impact. X39 Eon will definitely help. So will energy enhancer. Energy enhancer, like I said, turns over your lymphatic system. And so when you can move the lymph out using the X39 and Eon would be very beneficial, but definitely use the energy enhancer on the leg points, which are right here. If you see that point down there, even at the ankles, I see the biggest for me personally, improvement in my lymphatic system from down here on this point, but that's just me. But yes, it can definitely help with swelling. clot behind the eye, lost vision, started eye injections, X39, 49 Eon. I now do not get injections. That's fantastic. Thank you guys for sharing your testimonials. I love this. Again, cataracts, you're looking at the eyes. So we would definitely do 39 and Eon and carnosine. What's the youngest that we can patch? So here's the thing. We have no clinical studies on children or babies for obvious reasons. And same thing with pregnant nursing moms. We have no clinical studies. So that's going to be a personal choice. Everybody has their own decision to make based on what they want and what they think is best for their child. The first two people I patched were my children. Now, yes, they were teenagers, but I started, for example, we're talking about these detoxes. I started my children on detoxes when they were 3 and 5 years old. So they went through parasite detoxes, heavy metal detoxes, candida detoxes. We're, again, doing the detoxes again now. And of course, we've done them over the years. But that's going to be your personal choice. Have I patched children? I have, at the request of the parent, but I can't tell you that you should do that for your child. Do we have hundreds and hundreds of moms and grandparents talking on Telegram about what happened to their child from patching? Absolutely. So get with the person that invited you and they can help you to make that best decision. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. So when you look at the brain, remember, I can't talk about any type of disease like MS or anything like that. But when you look at the brain, you would look at the brain protocol, which would be definitely 39, 49, Eon, and carnosine. So these are going to be the big ones for brain. And honestly, glutathione will absolutely help because, again, helping to get rid of toxins. We know that when we see neurological problems, there is a buildup of toxicity in your body. You guys, this is my year 2023. I'm going to talk about detoxing all year long. I have literally been doing detoxes since I was 18 years old. I got my hands on a natural health magazine and I started reading and learning and I started doing detoxes. So literally for 30 years, I have been detoxing my body at least once a quarter. And I'm not talking about like, throw you, under the covers and on the toilet and, life just, hit the fan. I'm saying I have been doing every kind of detox under the sun. And 99.99% of the time, barely feel anything from it, but I've always been doing them. It's like your car. My dad told me when I was 16, this is your car. You're responsible to change the oil. If you don't change the oil, it won't get you anywhere. Well, I was someone living in Indiana that wanted to go to Florida 3 or 4 times a year. I had to make sure, I knew I was going to be driving 1,000 miles there and 1,000 miles back. I made sure my car was able to get me to Florida and back. I had to change the oil. Your body's no different. You have to change the oil. You've got to get rid of the toxins in your body, and heavy metals are big and parasites are huge and candida is rampant. And so we want to get those things out of our system. So again, looking at the toxicity, you want to look at those big antioxidants to be able to help your body eliminate the toxicity. Gut issues. I work with Dr. Mel. She's a gut specialist, microbiome. Her protocol is 39, 49 glutathione and SP6. I don't have an SP6. We gave them all away this weekend. And so I don't even have my sleeve. I guess I left it there in San Diego. So SP6 is a patch. I think I have the instruction booklet. Yeah, right here. It's a patch that balances your endocrine system and your organs as well too, in a different way, signaling a different peptide in the body. But SP6 is fantastic when we look at the gut. So again, glutathione, master antioxidant, immune booster. SP6 balances the endocrine system as well as the intestines, right? A lot of organs in your body. So when we look at the brain, I can't specifically speak on ADHD, but I can speak on the brain again, X39, Eon, carnosine. If it's a child, that's a personal choice, of course. When someone uses energy enhancer, has major detox experience, extreme fatigue, area in the body is generally detoxing. That I have no idea. That varies per person. I would say you need more water. More water. That's the thing. And you may have some detox symptoms where you don't feel fantastic. I know when I did my parasite detox a couple of weeks ago, I had 2 days I had a headache. I had a headache right here. And I'm like, okay. And I'm super hydrated, like 4 to 5 of these a day. I mean, in the morning, I'll drink 1 of these just while I'm working out in the gym and sitting in the sauna. That's even before 8 o'clock in the morning. And I've already had at least 12 ounces before that just to get me going when I wake up. So I would say more water will definitely help. Again, brain, we talked about that. Lots of brain questions. More brain questions. Oh, fantastic. That's great to hear, Sherry. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Yep. So again, personal choice on kids. I cannot tell you to patch children. I tell you I patch my own. And if my children were younger, I would slap. I wish I would have known about this technology with Taylor. I really do. I wish someone would have introduced this to me 15 years ago. I would have been using the patches on her 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old little body back then. Absolutely, I would patch her. There's nothing going in the body. There's nothing. It is literally a wearable light technology. Our body's light communicating with this, happening at the speed of light, putting the body back in balance. I wish I would have known what I know now back then. For pain, X39 Eon Ice Wave, 100% Ice Wave gets rid of the pain on the spot. And so you've got to find the place that it's going to do that with. So if your pain is on your right side, then you put the white patch on the right side and you put the tan patch on the corresponding part of the body on the left side, okay? So if it's your right shoulder, then the white one goes here, the tan one goes here. It works with the polarity of your body to open up energy channels. Pain is just stuck energy. And you may have to move them around. Maybe the pain's actually like the parts coming from up in here that's making your pain here. So take them off. If you don't get relief within a few minutes or even a couple hours, then take them off. But always use the X39 Eon. So as far as trimmers, definitely X39 Eon for sure. Carnosine as well too. Bipolar. We look at brain in that way. We look at mood balancing and stabilizing. We look at the nirvana. Nirvana signals neurohormones and neurotransmitters in your brain to help with a blissful state. So help with the stress, anxiety, the depression, those things that throw the brain off. This balances them. So increases beta endorphins. It's fantastic. So I would definitely use that. So is it necessary with the carnosine to use the HMEH? So the carnosine patch increases carnosine, which does help to detox, like I mentioned earlier, just carnosine as a nutrient to detox aluminum, right? HMEH is a tincture that I use from a company called Pure Herbs. I've used that for 15 years. I actually used to take Taylor to Solomon, who invented those, up in northern Indiana. And so I've personally used that on and off over the last 15 years. And so has my family. It detoxes all heavy metals. So it's not just focusing on one specific one. I would absolutely use that. Every single person. I think it's a fantastic heavy metal detox. It tastes great, tastes like vanilla, honestly. I gave it to Trey today. I was like, it's kind of caramel. He goes, no, it's vanilla. I'm like, it does taste like vanilla extract. So yeah. Blood pressure, I mentioned earlier, our clinical studies on 39 and 49, lower systolic and diastolic in the first 60 days. But we've had people just even using 39 have improvements with blood pressure. Again, we're all so different. Look at your sodium potassium ratio. Most people are consuming way too much sodium. You're eating processed foods, you're eating frozen foods, you're eating canned foods, and they're full of sodium. And so cut out your white table salt, get some Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan sea salt, and look at things that are higher in potassium, your dried fruits, your good veggies that are going to be higher in potassium, even maybe, use some type of electrolyte that has a balance. Magnesium is critical for your cells. So make sure you're taking a magnesium. It's like I said, it's great to have an electrolyte, potassium, magnesium, sodium blend. That'll be fantastic. Oh, good. Nirvana helped with her calm down a child. That's fantastic. X39 during the day because it can give you energy, mental energy, physical energy. And so you don't want that at night, right? You want to give your body time to repair and regenerate. Great to hear about energy enhancer and eyesight. Thank you guys for sharing. I love these testimonials that you're sharing in here. I'm exhausted way too much, don't sleep enough through the night, overstressed, appetite is off, Phil ran down. 39, 49, SP6 would be fantastic. And I would definitely do 39 for sure, Eon, SP6. That's a great place to start. Energy and patch on both temples. Yep, white right, tan left. Absolutely. Alavita or Silent Nights, Alavita both. Some people say Alavita helps them sleep. I love it because it lengthens my telomeres and reduces oxidative inflammatory stress. It's great for the skin, but I don't have any issues sleeping. But Silent Night is the sleep patch, of course, and we know Shine and Dream puts you in that deep REM sleep, increasing your growth hormone. Patches for chronic fatigue, 39, Eon, energy enhancer for sure, and probably a good glutathione. Okay, we're out of time. So anxiety, sleep, Nirvana during the day, Eon at night, absolutely. You can definitely do that. A lot of people do one during the day and one at night, and they can be reversed, whichever works best for you. Arthritis, I would definitely say Eon, X39, and glutathione coats the joints. And let's see, osteoporosis at X39, 49, like I mentioned, stops bone loss, increases bone density. And is it okay to wear 2 X39s? You don't need to. You're only going to get about 20-30% extra benefit from that. So if you're okay with the price, then that's perfectly fine. I'd look at supportive patches in order to get you what your results you're looking for faster, that you would want 2 39s. We've already talked about pain. Just trying to make sure I get to your last questions. So definitely use the Silent Nights if you have problems going to sleep. Also put Eon below your belly button at night. That helps as well too. Dream, of course. Stomach, 39, 49, or 39 Eon, glutathione, and SP6 for anything in the stomach. Arteries, we talk about, of course, with the heart, 39, 49 Eon, carnosine. Intestines, I just mentioned that. Anything in the gut. Skin, definitely X39, Eon, and Alavita for sure. The patches can replace some supplements. I don't know which ones. You'd have to have your practitioner, muscle test you, determine what would be something that you could start to maybe taper off of as far as supplements. But we've seen people be able to throw those away. A lot of them, not saying all of them, but definitely be able to, help with that. I don't know. I haven't seen any testimonials on hemorrhoids. 39, 49, I would say those are both fine. Carnosine, Eon, Icewave for pain, but I don't know. I'd have to look in the Telegram for that. So let's see. Parasite detox educational sessions. Okay, so if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see me sharing information about parasite detox on there for sure. And then I do not sell the parasite detoxes or the heavy metal detoxes. I've just used the same brand for 15 years. I love it. It's been very effective. So, but you can come to my Facebook page. I share information on there every day. So you definitely, and yeah, my YouTube channel has lots of videos. Thank you. All right. Parasite protocol, 3 days before the full moon, because they're most active then, you want to start your parasite detox. I use an herbal tincture that's always worked really well. So 3 days before the full moon, and you do it for a total of 10 days. You might want, if you've never done it before, I'd do it 3 months in a row, maybe even a little longer, but at least once or twice a year. It's like deworming your cat, your dog, your horse. Like, you get rid of the worms in them, why wouldn't you get rid of the worms in your body? So yeah. Okay, you guys. So I know we've got some more questions. If you didn't get your questions answered, because we're already a few minutes over and we have our patching podcast now, so I want to make sure we can hop on that for those of you that want to hear that testimonial. If you didn't get your question answered, please get back with the person that invited you. They obviously can help you. And then, of course, we all work together. We're all one big team. So if they can't help you get your question answered for some reason, then, we're all working together, connected together, and we're more than happy to help. So thank you guys for being on here tonight. I will get this uploaded. It takes about 15-20 minutes, and I'll get it on my YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday evening. Thank you.